Clara was a kind and gentle nanny who loved children. She did not have much money, but she had a warm heart and endless patience. Every day, she took care of children in her small neighborhood. Clara knew how to make them laugh, how to calm their fears, and how to make them feel safe. She always wore simple clothes and carried a small bag with snacks and toys for the children she looked after. One bright and sunny afternoon, Clara decided to take the children she cared for to the local park. The park was full of colorful flowers, green grass, and the sound of birds singing. Children were running around, playing on swings, slides, and merry-go-rounds. Laughter filled the air, and Clara felt happy to see their smiles dot as Clara walked along the path. She noticed a small girl sitting alone on a swing. The girl was holding a tiny teddy bear tightly in her arms, her small hands clutching it as if it could protect her. Her eyes were wide, and tears ran down her cheeks. Clara felt her heart ache at the sight. Something about the girl's fear made her feel that this child needed help immediately. Without hesitation, Clara approached her slowly and knelt down so she could be at eye level. "Hello," she said softly. "Are you okay?" The little girl looked up, startled. She was very small, maybe only 5 or 6 years old. Her golden hair was slightly messy, and her cheeks were wet from crying. I lost my dad," she whispered, her voice trembling. Clara gently took her hand. "It's okay," she said calmly. "You are safe now. My name is Clara. Can I help you find him?" The girl hesitated, then nodded slowly. "My name is Mia," she said. Clara smiled gently. "Nice to meet you, Mia. Don't worry. We will find your dad together." Clara looked around the park carefully, but she could not see anyone searching for a small girl. Other children were still playing, and parents were talking and watching their own kids. Clara realized that Mia might have been separated from her father for a while. She wanted to make sure Mia felt calm and safe. She took Mia's hand and led her to a nearby bench. "Let's sit here for a moment," Clara suggested. "Can you tell me what your dad looks like?" Mia thought for a moment. "He is very tall," she said quietly. "He has black hair and wears a blue suit. He always smiles at me." Clara nodded, remembering every detail. "Okay, that helps. We will find him soon." Clara then began talking to Mia gently, telling her about the park animals. "Do you see the little birds in the trees?" she asked. "They are singing just for us. And the squirrels are playing hide-and-seek with each other." Mia's eyes focused on the birds, and she slowly smiled. Clara's soft words made Mia feel safe. The little girl's hands loosened around her teddy bear. After a few minutes, Clara noticed a small cafe near the park. She said, "Would you like to have some juice and a cookie while we wait for your dad?" Mia nodded eagerly. They walked slowly toward the cafe. Clara wanted Mia to feel comfortable, not rush thought inside the cafe. Clara bought a small glass of juice and a cookie for Mia. She watched as Mia held the cup carefully and took tiny sips. "This is nice," Mia said, her voice softer now. Clara smiled. "Sometimes when we are scared, a little juice and a snack can make us feel better." While they sat quietly, Clara noticed that some people were looking at them. Some whispered to each other, pointing at Mia. Clara felt curious but did not ask. She focused only on making Mia feel safe. The little girl's trembling had slowed, and her eyes were no longer filled with tears. Clara knew that her calm presence had made a big difference. Time passed slowly, and Clara held Mia's hand, keeping her close. She promised, "We will find your dad. Don't worry. I will not leave you." Mia squeezed Clara's hand in return. For the first time since she had arrived at the park, she felt a little brave. Clara's kindness gave her comfort, and the little girl began to believe that everything would be all right. Clara did not know it yet, but this simple act of kindness would change both of their lives. What started as a small moment in a park was about to grow into something much bigger, something neither Clara nor Mia could have imagined. Mia sat quietly in the small cafe, still holding Clara's hand. She felt safer with Clara nearby, even though she did not know her. The bright sunlight outside seemed less scary now, and the sounds of the park were far away. Clara noticed the little girl was still trembling slightly, so she leaned closer and spoke softly. "You know, Mia, sometimes it is okay to be scared," Clara said kindly. "Everyone feels afraid sometimes, even grown-ups. The important thing is to stay calm and find someone who can help." Mia looked up at her with wide eyes. You are helping me?" she asked. Clara nodded and smiled. "Yes, I am. Right now, my job is to make sure you feel safe and happy." Mia hugged her teddy bear tighter, but she no longer cried. She listened as Clara told her a story about a little bird who was lost but found its way home. The story made Mia think about her own father. She imagined that he might be looking for her, just like the little bird's family looked for it. Clara noticed Mia's attention shifting, and she continued softly. The little bird was scared at first, but then it saw a friendly hand reaching out. That hand helped it find its way. "Do you know what the hand did next?" she asked. Mia shook her head. "It gave the little bird courage. And then the bird was happy again." Mia smiled faintly. I hope my dad finds me," she whispered. Clara gently squeezed her hand. "He will, I promise. And until he comes, I will stay with you." Time seemed to move slowly as they waited. People in the cafe glanced at the little girl with curiosity, but Clara did not mind. She focused only on Mia, keeping her distracted with soft conversation. They talked about the birds, the flowers in the park, and even the clouds in the sky. Clara asked Mia what her favorite color was, and Mia said, "Pink." Clara nodded. "Pink is a happy color, just like you will be when your dad comes back." After a few minutes, Clara decided to make a small plan. "Mia, do you want to draw a picture while we wait? Sometimes pictures can help us feel better." Mia nodded eagerly. Clara found some paper and pencils in her bag. Mia began drawing a small house with a garden and a tall man standing outside. Clara guessed it was her father. Mia smiled as she worked carefully. Clara watched her with admiration. The little girl's fear had started to disappear. Her tiny hands were steady and her eyes were brighter. Clara realized that small kindness could make a big difference. Sometimes all a scared child needed was a patient and caring presence. Suddenly, the door of the cafe opened and a tall man stepped inside. He was scanning the room quickly. Clara's heart skipped a beat. Could this be Mia's father? The man looked worried, and his eyes moved across the room until they landed on Mia. Mia froze for a moment, unsure what to do. "Daddy!" she cried, jumping from her chair. The man hurried over, kneeling down to scoop her into his arms. Clara stepped back, letting the reunion happen. The father held Mia tightly, whispering comforting words. Clara could see tears in his eyes. "Thank you," he said softly to Clara when he noticed her. "Thank you for keeping her safe. I don't know what I would have done if you weren't here." Clara shook her head politely. "I just wanted to make sure she was okay. That's all." The man smiled with gratitude. "You have a kind heart," he said. "Not many people would take the time to help a child like you did." Clara felt a little embarrassed. She was not used to being praised, but she felt happy knowing that Mia was safe. Mia hugged Clara tightly one last time. "Thank you," she whispered. Clara stroked her hair gently. "You're welcome, Mia. Remember, you are never alone. Someone will always be here to help you." As the father led Mia outside, Clara realized something remarkable. She had only wanted to help a scared little girl, but her small act of kindness had changed everything in that moment. Mia's fear had disappeared, replaced by trust and comfort. Clara smiled quietly, knowing that helping someone, even for a short time, could make a big difference in their life. Even as they walked away, Clara knew that this encounter at the park was just the beginning of something unexpected and extraordinary. She did not yet know how much her life and Mia's life would change because of this simple act of kindness. Clara watched as Mia ran toward her father, her small feet moving quickly across the cafe floor. The little girl's laughter was bright, full of relief and happiness. Clara felt a warmth in her heart, knowing that Mia was finally safe. The father, tall and serious-looking at first, had a gentle smile now as he held his daughter close. "Thank you again," the man said, turning to Clara. "I am Brandon. Brandon Wells." Clara's eyes widened slightly. She had heard the name before, but never imagined she would meet him in person. She smiled politely. "I'm Clara. I was just helping Mia while she was scared. That's all." Brandon shook his head. "No, Clara, what you did was much more than that. You stayed calm, you kept her safe, and you gave her comfort when she needed it most. Not everyone could do that." Clara blushed but said nothing. She was used to helping children without expecting anything in return. Mia looked up at Clara and gave her a small wave. "You helped me," she said softly. Clara knelt down to smile at her. "And you were very brave, Mia. That's why we found your dad." Brandon noticed the way Clara interacted with Mia and the way Mia trusted her completely. He thought for a moment and then spoke carefully. "Clara, I know this may seem sudden, but would you like to come to our home? I would like you to meet my wife and the rest of our family. I think it is important for you to see where Mia lives and to know that your kindness is appreciated." Clara hesitated. She was a simple woman with a quiet life. Visiting a wealthy family's home was not something she had ever imagined. But when she looked at Mia's smiling face, she knew she could not refuse. I would be happy to," Clara said softly. Brandon smiled warmly. "Wonderful. Please, let us go together." Mia jumped up and down with excitement, holding her father's hand. Clara followed closely behind, feeling a mix of curiosity and nervousness. She had no idea what awaited her, but she felt ready to meet this family. As they left the cafe, Brandon explained gently, "Mia is our only child. She can be a little shy sometimes, but you handled her perfectly. I am grateful for that." Clara nodded. "I just wanted her to feel safe. She needed someone she could trust." The car ride was quiet but pleasant. Clara looked out the window at the city passing by. She had never seen buildings so tall or cars so luxurious. Brandon noticed her glances and smiled. "Don't worry, Clara. You don't need to be impressed. This is just our home, and it will feel ordinary to us. But what matters most is that Mia feels happy and comfortable." When they arrived at the large house, Clara could not help but notice how beautiful it was. The garden was full of colorful flowers, and the driveway was wide and clean. She took a deep breath and followed Brandon inside. Mia ran ahead, eager to show Clara her favorite spots in the house. "This is my room," she said, opening the door to a room filled with toys, books, and soft pillows. Clara smiled warmly. "It's lovely, Mia. You must feel happy here." Mia nodded, hugging her teddy bear. "I do. And I feel brave when you are with me." Brandon watched quietly from the doorway, amazed at how naturally Clara connected with his daughter. "Clara," he said softly, "you have a gift. Not everyone can make a child feel safe so quickly. That is rare." Clara shook her head, feeling shy. "I just care about children. That is all I know how to do." Brandon's eyes were serious for a moment. "Well, Clara, what you did today was more than just caring. You gave Mia trust and comfort, and that is priceless. I hope you know how important your kindness is." Clara felt her heart swell with a mix of pride and humility. She had never expected to be noticed in this way. Mia held Clara's hand and whispered, "Can you stay a little longer? I like being with you." Clara smiled gently. "Of course, Mia. I am happy to stay." Brandon looked at them and nodded. "Then, welcome, Clara. Consider this your home whenever you are with Mia." Clara's eyes widened slightly at the offer. She felt nervous, but also deeply honored. Today had begun as a simple moment in a park, and now it had become something she could never have imagined. As Clara followed Mia through the house, she realized that this day was the beginning of a new chapter. One simple act of kindness had created a bond that could last a lifetime, and Clara felt for the first time in a long while that her heart had found a place where it truly belonged. Clara stepped into the grand living room of Brandon's home, her eyes widening slightly at the sparkling chandeliers and polished floors. She had never been inside such a large and beautiful house before. Every corner was filled with light, and the furniture looked elegant and expensive. But despite the grandeur, Clara noticed something important. The atmosphere felt warm and welcoming. Mia ran ahead, excitedly pointing out her favorite spots. "This is where I read books," she said, showing Clara a small, cozy nook by the window. "And this is where I play with my toys." Clara smiled. "It's very beautiful, Mia. You have a lovely room, and it looks like a very happy place." Mia hugged her teddy bear and nodded. "It is, and I feel safe here, especially with you." Brandon followed them, observing quietly. Clara noticed how carefully he watched his daughter, making sure she was happy and comfortable. She admired the love he had for Mia. Despite his serious appearance and wealth, his care for his child was clear in every gesture. After showing Clara the house, Brandon led them to the dining room. "My wife will be home soon," he said. "I thought it would be nice if you could meet her. She is Mia's mother, of course, and she has heard so much about you already." Clara felt a little nervous. Meeting a child's parents in a wealthy home was far beyond her normal life. But she reminded herself that she was there to care for Mia, and that was what mattered most. While waiting, Brandon and Clara sat near a window, watching Mia play with a small toy car. Brandon spoke softly. "Clara, I want to thank you again. Your kindness today meant more than I can express. Mia was terrified in the park, and you gave her comfort and courage. That is not something money can buy." Clara shook her head, feeling shy. "I just did what anyone would do," she said. "I wanted her to feel safe." Brandon smiled warmly. "That is exactly why it is so remarkable. Many people would have ignored her or simply told her to wait. But you stayed with her. You gave her trust and care. That is rare, Clara." Mia suddenly ran to them, her small hands holding a bright drawing she had made. "Look!" she exclaimed. The picture showed a tall man, a small girl, and a woman with kind eyes. "This is my family," she said proudly, handing it to Clara. Clara's eyes softened as she looked at the drawing. "It's beautiful, Mia. You drew all of us so perfectly." Brandon chuckled quietly. "You have quite an artist here, Clara, and I can see she feels very happy around you." Clara smiled, feeling her heart swell. She had only met Mia that afternoon, but already she felt a strong bond with the little girl. Soon, the front door opened and a woman stepped inside. She was tall and graceful, with a gentle smile. "Mia!" she exclaimed, kneeling down to hug her daughter. Mia ran into her mother's arms, and Clara watched the reunion with a smile. The woman then noticed Clara and extended her hand. "You must be Clara," she said warmly. "Brandon has told me so much about you. Thank you for being there for Mia." Clara stood up and shook her hand politely. "It was my pleasure," she said softly. "I only wanted to help her feel safe." The woman smiled. "You have a wonderful heart. It is clear Mia feels comfortable with you. That is the most important thing." The family invited Clara to sit with them as they shared tea. Clara felt nervous at first, but the warmth of their welcome made her relax. She realized that despite the house's grandeur, the family valued kindness, love, and care above all else. They treated her with respect, not because of her position or wealth, but because of her heart. Mia climbed onto Clara's lap, holding her teddy bear close. "I like being with you," she said softly. Clara hugged her gently. "And I like being with you, Mia. You are a very special little girl." Brandon watched them, his eyes reflecting gratitude and admiration. He could see that Clara's gentle presence had already made a lasting impression on Mia. He knew that having Clara in their lives could bring something priceless: trust, comfort, and love. As the afternoon sunlight streamed into the room, Clara realized that life could change in unexpected ways. One simple act of kindness at the park had brought her into a new world, a world of warmth, trust, and unexpected friendship. She smiled quietly, feeling that this was only the beginning of something truly special. After a warm cup of tea, Clara felt more comfortable in Brandon's home. The house was grand, with sparkling windows, polished floors, and elegant furniture. Yet, despite all the luxury, the atmosphere felt friendly and calm. It was clear that love, not wealth, shaped the family. Clara realized that she was being treated with respect simply because she cared for Mia. Mia bounced around happily, showing Clara her favorite toys and books. "This is where I play with my dolls," she said, taking up a small doll from the shelf. "And this is where I read my books." Clara smiled and knelt beside her. "You have a wonderful room, Mia. It looks like a place where you can feel safe and happy." Mia hugged her teddy bear tightly. "I do feel safe and brave when you are with me," she whispered. Clara's heart warmed at the words. She realized how much her presence mattered to the little girl. It was not about the toys or the house. It was about trust, care, and comfort. Brandon watched quietly, observing the bond between Clara and Mia. He was impressed by Clara's gentle and patient way of interacting with his daughter. "Clara," he said softly, "I know you only met Mia today, but the way she trusts you is extraordinary. Not many people can calm a child so quickly. That is a rare gift." Clara shook her head humbly. "I just wanted her to feel safe. That's all. I have always cared about children. It feels natural to help them." Brandon smiled warmly. "That is what makes you special. You have a heart that notices what others need, and you act on it." At that moment, Mrs. Wells, Mia's mother, joined them in the room. She had a gentle smile and kind eyes. "Mia told me all about you," she said to Clara. "Thank you for being there for her when she was scared. Your kindness means a lot to us." Clara felt shy but grateful. "I only wanted her to feel comforted. She was frightened, and I thought she needed a friend." Mrs. Wells nodded, her expression warm. "And you became that friend. You gave her trust and comfort. That is more valuable than anything else in this house." Clara felt her cheeks blush slightly. She was not used to being praised, but the sincerity in the parents' voices made her feel appreciated in a way she had never experienced before. Mia climbed onto Clara's lap, holding her teddy bear close. "Can you stay with me?" she asked softly. Clara hugged her gently. "Of course, Mia. I am happy to stay." Brandon and his wife exchanged a glance, silently agreeing that Clara had already become a part of their daughter's life. The afternoon passed quickly as they shared stories and played simple games. Clara helped Mia with a small puzzle, and the little girl laughed when they completed it together. The sound of her laughter filled the room and made Clara feel a sense of fulfillment she had never known. She realized that sometimes the smallest acts of kindness could create the deepest bonds. Later, Brandon spoke again. "Clara, I know your life is different from ours. You work hard every day and care for children with love and patience. I hope you know how much we respect that. If you ever want, you could be part of Mia's life regularly. I trust you completely with her." Clara felt a mixture of surprise and gratitude. She had never imagined that her simple act of helping a frightened little girl could lead to such an invitation. Clara smiled softly. I would be honored. Mia is a wonderful child, and I feel happy when I am with her." Brandon nodded, clearly pleased with her answer. Mrs. Wells added, "We would be grateful to have you in her life. Your kindness has already made a difference for her today." Mia hugged Clara tightly, smiling brightly. "You are my friend," she said, her voice full of innocence and trust. Clara stroked her hair gently. "And you are my special little friend, Mia." As the sun began to set, Clara realized how much her day had changed. What began as a simple moment at the park had grown into a new bond with a little girl and her family. She understood that kindness could create connections that were far more valuable than money or luxury. Clara looked at Mia, smiling. She knew that her presence in this family's life could bring comfort, love, and trust. And as she prepared to leave for the evening, she felt a quiet excitement, knowing that this was only the beginning of a remarkable journey. The next morning, Clara found herself thinking about Mia as she walked to her small home. The encounter at the park and the time spent in the Wells house kept replaying in her mind. She had only met Mia for a short while, but already she felt a connection that was both comforting and surprising. The little girl had trusted her completely, and Clara realized how much she cared for her. When she arrived at the park later that day, Clara noticed Mia running toward her, holding her teddy bear tightly. "Clara!" Mia shouted, her eyes sparkling with excitement. Clara bent down and hugged her warmly. "Hello, Mia. Did you have a good morning?" Mia nodded eagerly. "Yes. Daddy said I could see you today." Clara smiled. "Well, that's wonderful. I'm happy to see you too." Mia's laughter filled the air as they walked together to a small bench under a tree. Clara could see that the little girl's fear from the day before had completely disappeared. Now, her energy and curiosity shone brightly. Clara felt proud to have helped her regain confidence and joy. "Do you want to play a game?" Clara asked gently. Mia nodded eagerly. Clara suggested they play a small scavenger hunt in the park. They looked for flowers, leaves, and birds, naming each one as they found it. Clara could see Mia's imagination growing with every discovery. She laughed when Mia pretended a fallen leaf was a magic carpet and guided her imaginary journey across the park. As they played, Clara noticed a sleek black car approaching slowly. A tall man stepped out, Brandon. He waved at them warmly. "Good morning, Clara." "Good morning, Mia," he said. Clara greeted him politely, and Mia ran into her father's arms, beaming. Brandon looked at Clara with a kind smile. "I hope you don't mind," he said, "but I wanted to make sure Mia has some time with you today as well." Clara shook her head. "Of course, Mr. Wells. I enjoy spending time with her." Brandon nodded. "It means a lot to me. Thank you for caring for her so well." Clara felt a gentle warmth in her chest. She was used to helping children, but this was different. This was a child whose family valued her presence, not just as a nanny, but as someone who made a real difference in their lives. The three of them spent the day exploring the park together. Brandon watched quietly as Clara guided Mia, teaching her about flowers and the birds that visited the trees. Clara noticed how careful and loving he was as a father, always checking to see that Mia was safe, while also allowing her freedom to play. She admired the balance he maintained, kind yet firm, loving yet responsible. By mid-afternoon, they decided to sit under a large oak tree. Mia rested her head on Clara's lap, while Brandon watched with a gentle smile. "Clara," he said softly, "it is rare to find someone who can care for a child so naturally. Mia trusts you completely, and I can see why. She feels safe and happy with you." Clara shook her head. feeling shy. "I only try to be patient and kind. That is what children need." Brandon nodded, understanding her humility. "That is exactly why you are special," he said. "Many people care, but not everyone can make a child feel completely safe. You have that gift." Clara smiled quietly, feeling a sense of pride she had never experienced before. She realized that her simple acts of kindness were already creating bonds that could last a lifetime. As the sun began to set, Brandon suggested they head back to the Wells home. Clara held Mia's hand as they walked together, feeling a quiet happiness. She knew that this day was another step in a growing relationship. She had started as a stranger who comforted a frightened child, and now she was becoming someone essential to Mia's life. Mia looked up at Clara and whispered, "I like being with you. Can you stay with me more often?" Clara hugged her gently. "Yes, Mia. I will be here whenever you need me." Brandon and his wife would soon see that Clara was not only a caring friend for Mia, but also someone whose presence brought calm and happiness. Clara realized that her life had begun to change in ways she had never expected. One simple act of kindness had grown into a bond that would shape all of their lives. Clara had visited the Wells home several times now, and each visit made her feel more comfortable. She had grown used to the quiet elegance of the house, but more importantly, she had grown close to Mia. The little girl trusted her completely, and Clara found herself thinking about her throughout the day. Every laugh, every smile, and every quiet moment of trust reminded Clara why she had chosen to care for children. One morning, Brandon invited Clara to stay for breakfast. "I want you to see how our mornings are with Mia," he said. Clara felt a mix of excitement and nervousness. She was used to simple meals at her small home, but the thought of being welcomed into this family's routine made her heart feel warm. Mia ran ahead, chattering excitedly about pancakes and fruit. "Clara, come see. Mommy made strawberries," she exclaimed, pointing to a plate of bright red berries. Clara smiled. "They look delicious, Mia. You must be very happy to have breakfast with your family today." As they sat at the table, Mrs. Wells poured juice for everyone. "Clara, I hope you feel at home here," she said gently. "You have been wonderful with Mia, and I want you to know that you are always welcome." Clara felt a small lump in her throat. She had never experienced such kindness. "Thank you," she said softly. "I feel very happy here." Brandon watched Clara carefully. "Clara, I know you have your own life outside of this house, but I want to ask you something important. We trust you completely with Mia. She feels safe with you. I would like you to spend more time with her, not just occasionally, but regularly. Would you consider that?" Clara's eyes widened. She had never expected such an offer. Her simple act of helping a frightened child had led to something she had never imagined. I would be honored," Clara said softly. "I care about Mia, and I want to help her whenever she needs me." Brandon smiled warmly. "That is wonderful. Mia needs someone she can always count on, and I know she will feel happy knowing you are part of her life." Mia clapped her hands with excitement. "Really? You will stay with me?" she asked. Clara laughed gently and nodded. "Yes, Mia. I will be here whenever you need me." The little girl jumped into her father's arms, then looked back at Clara with a big smile. "I like you so much," she said. Clara hugged her gently. "And I like you, Mia. You are very special." After breakfast, they spent the morning reading stories and playing in the garden. Clara could see how much Mia's confidence had grown since the first day in the park. The little girl ran freely, laughed joyfully, and shared her thoughts openly with Clara. Every small act of bravery made Clara proud. She realized that the bond they had built was strong and meaningful. Brandon and his wife observed quietly, noticing how naturally Clara guided Mia with kindness and patience. "She is wonderful with Mia," Mrs. Wells whispered to Brandon. Brandon nodded. Yes, she's exactly what Mia needs. More than a caretaker, she is a friend and a guide. By the afternoon, Clara felt a deep sense of belonging. She realized that her life had changed in ways she had never imagined. From a simple park encounter to being welcomed into a family that valued her heart, Clara had found a place where her kindness mattered. She had become more than a nanny. She had become someone who made a real difference in Mia's life. As the sun began to set, Clara watched Mia run across the garden, laughing and full of energy. She knew that this was only the beginning of a lasting relationship. She had earned the trust of a little girl and the respect of a family, and she felt a quiet joy knowing that her presence could bring happiness and comfort. Clara looked at Brandon and Mrs. Wells, then at Mia, and smiled. She understood that life could surprise you in the most beautiful ways. One simple act of kindness at a park had grown into a bond that would change all of their lives. And for the first time in a long while, Clara felt that she truly belonged. Clara woke up early the next morning, feeling a gentle excitement in her heart. She knew that today would be another special day with Mia and her family. The past few weeks had changed her life in ways she could never have imagined. What started as a simple act of kindness in the park had grown into a bond that brought joy, trust, and love to all of them. As she walked toward the Wells house, she saw Mia waiting by the gate, her small face lighting up as soon as she saw Clara. "Good morning, Clara," Mia shouted. Clara smiled warmly and bent down to greet her. "Good morning, Mia. Are you ready for another fun day?" Mia nodded eagerly. "Yes. I want to show you something." She grabbed Clara's hand and ran toward the garden. Once inside the garden, Mia pointed to a small area she had been working on. "Look, I planted flowers here," she said proudly. Clara knelt down to examine them. The little plants were tiny but growing strong. "These are beautiful, Mia. You have done an excellent job taking care of them," Clara said. Mia beamed. "I wanted to make the garden pretty for you too." Clara's heart warmed. The little girl's thoughtfulness reminded Clara why she had chosen to care for children. It was moments like these that made every effort worth it. Brandon and his wife soon joined them in the garden. Brandon smiled as he watched Clara and Mia together. "Clara," he said, "it is amazing to see how comfortable and happy Mia is with you. She trusts you completely, and I can see that you care for her as much as we do." Clara shook her head gently. "I only want her to feel safe and happy. That is all that matters." Mrs. Wells added, "Clara, your presence has brought a new joy into our home. Mia looks forward to seeing you every day, and we are grateful for the love and care you show her." Clara felt a wave of gratitude. She had never imagined that her simple actions would create such a meaningful connection. She smiled quietly, knowing that her heart had found a place where it belonged. Throughout the day, Clara and Mia played games, read stories, and explored the garden. Clara encouraged Mia to try new activities, and Mia's confidence grew with every small success. She climbed a small tree carefully, painted a bright picture, and even sang a little song she had learned at school. Clara applauded each accomplishment, and Mia's laughter filled the garden with joy. By the afternoon, Brandon called Clara aside. "Clara," he said softly, "we want you to know that you are now part of our family. You are not just a friend or a helper. You are someone Mia trusts and loves. We would like you to be with her regularly, and we hope you will accept that role." Clara's eyes widened. She felt overwhelmed by the offer, but a warm happiness spread through her chest. I would be honored," Clara said, her voice soft but steady. "I care about Mia, and I want to continue helping her grow and feel safe." Brandon nodded, smiling. "Then it is settled. You are an important part of our lives, Clara." Mia ran up and hugged Clara tightly. "You are my best friend," she said. Clara hugged her back, stroking her hair gently. And you are my special little friend, Mia. I will always be here for you." As the sun began to set, Clara stood in the garden, looking at Mia laughing and playing with her parents. She realized that life could change in the most wonderful ways when one acted with kindness. A frightened little girl at the park had needed comfort, and Clara had given it. In return, she had found a family that valued her heart and welcomed her with open arms. Clara smiled quietly to herself, knowing that this was only the beginning. She had a place in Mia's life, a bond that would grow stronger every day, and a family who appreciated her for who she truly was. For Clara, the world had opened up in ways she had never imagined, and she felt a quiet joy knowing that her simple kindness had created a bright and lasting future for them all. And as the sky turned golden with the setting sun, Clara realized that helping someone in need could change not just one life, but many. Today, she had not only comforted a little girl, but had also discovered her own place in the world, a place full of love, trust, and hope.